Welcome to Gridview bulk edit part 2. In this video, what are we going to do is we are going to update all the records in a batch process, right? In the previous video, in the previous session, we saw how to bind a grid view in a bulk edit mode. Like everything is open in a text box, you simply change the values and update. So today we're going to look how we're going to update, right? So update is pretty simple. All you need to do is understand like how the grid view works. The important point is like if you look at the screen, right, when you're doing an update, every update when you do, there's a rule behind it, right? It means like imagine you're updating this first row, right? You're updating this first row, you are editing the level, you are editing the expert, and you are editing the name, but you're doing on the basis of what you're doing on the ID. I mean, so this is a unique, this is something unique based on which you're doing the update, right? So that's the update. Now you imagine when you're doing a bulk update, what exactly you are doing. You are looping through all the records, right? So looping through all the records, and your query will become something like this. First have a look at the query. You'll say update the TBL employees. If you remember, the name of our table is TBL employee. What exactly you want to update? You want to update name, you want to update expert, and you want to update a level. But there's a condition called as where. I mean, like if you don't apply where, then it gets applied globally to all the records, right, which we don't want. So that's why we have an ID as a primary key, and which is non-editable inside the grid view, right? So that's the benefit we have right now. The next thing what are we going to do is, the next thing, looking at this, the question comes in your mind, how I'm gonna get this values out of this control. Like this is a grid view, so like I want all the four things if I want to update all the one row, right? So let's take a case, I want to update only one row. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I need the value of this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. So how can you get the value of this guy? On the click of an update button. So when I click an update button, what I do is, this is a grid view, right? So grid view has rows, okay? So when the grid view has rows, what I do is I start iterating through the grid, and when I'm iterating through a grid, I know my controls are inside, right? So all I need to do is I need to find the control inside this grid view, and they have a unique name. If you remember, in a previous session we saw like the label has a name called as LBL ID, the name has TXT ID, the expert has TXT expert. So everything is configured for us. So what I'm going to do is I'll say I'll assign a variable, and then I say what I'll do is, when I'm hitting the first row, I'll say, hey grid view, I'm just looking inside your first row and I need to look for a control name as LBL ID, and we know the LBL ID is present, right? And grid view will ask like what type of control is that. So you'll specify, you're casting it as label, you'll say this is a label, right? So same thing you will do for like these remaining three guys. Like you have a control name TXT name, TXT expert, and level as a text box, right? And in order to prove like all of them are working, what can I do is, hold on a second, I need to pause, shift F5, and I can do this thing as response dot, right? This is gonna look very ugly, but I'm gonna do one thing, okay? I'm gonna display an ID, only ID, and I'll say no, I think I'm missing something. Yes, ID, and I'll say LBL ID, because I'm casting as a text box, so this is a text box, right? And in the end I'll hit BR tag, so at least you'll get an idea what I'm trying to say, right? And why this guy is crying? Okay, it's checking for null. And besides that, I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna comment the update code, right? Why? No, let it be, no problem. We just want to see like if we are able to get all the IDs in a row. So let's run this thing. Okay, so as you can see, now I'm gonna hit update button and it will print all these values from 1 to 20, right? So let's see update. So as you can see, all of them are printed. Pretty cool, huh? Alright, so you get the idea, right? So this is how you get the values from a grid view. right? So basically we are able to fetch the values from Gridview. Now the task is pretty simple. I know everything inside of this Gridview. I mean, like, if you ask me to access any cell within this block, you can do it very easily, right? So once I have that, I can easily access the value, and rest is all an SQL, nothing special, right? So my command text, now once I have all the values, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare a command in which I'm going to write an update statement, and I have a where condition. If you don't write a where condition, the last record which is looping through, that will update everywhere, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check. Okay, sometime it happens, like, you make some spelling mistake. It's like you say txt name 1, so the grid view says, okay, I couldn't find the control, so it returns a null. So it is always a good practice to check for null. Okay, if it is not null, then what we do is, like, these are the parameters which I've added. I'm filling in simply with the txt.name, txt.expert, and level and id. Once I do that, pretty basic, I'm open the connection, simply fire the query and close the connection. In case of any exception comes, connection dot close, right? So this is what I'm doing, which is pretty simple. All you need is a query. Your query should be in place, and you should have a skill to find the controls row by row out of a grid view. If you can do that, you can simply easily update anything you want. All right, so I'm gonna change this to the rock WWE, and the level is 1000. Alright, and this guy is going to be stone coal, and again this guy is to be like WWF. This is 2000. Of course, this guy was pretty dude, and I say update, and it updates the record, and it's done. Actually, I'm not displaying the message and all blah blah blah, but again, you can check very well everything inside a database. Remember, first two records, the values were PD and something else. Now it has been replaced completely. Now it is something else, right? So this is how you do the bulk update, right? I hope this video gives you an idea like how you can do the bulk update and everything. If you like my video, then do me the favor, give me the thumbs up to my videos, share my videos with your friends, those who are in need. Subscribe me for YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you have any thoughts, or if you have any request, let me know them in the comments. And if you are expert, you can think you can improve this, give me the idea, maybe I'll improve. Alright, so thank you for watching this video. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.